So in this video, we're going to look at how to use the rubric that is attached to the assignment. Elaborate what were the achievements of the ancient Maya. Each assignment that we have as a rubric, this assignment is no different. Therefore, we're going to look at the elaborate task now and what we've turned in for the elaborate task, which we've already done that together if you've watched this video here. If you have not watched this video here, you don't know what you're doing for this assignment, please don't be the person that doesn't watch the video and then emails Mr. K, hey, what do I do for the assignment? Because I'm going to get frustrated because I spend a lot of time making these videos, a lot of time that's outside of my normal school hours. I would like you to watch what I've created for you because I'm not going to repeat myself. So let's look at what we've turned in. And what we turned in is right here, and you can access it by clicking on the assignment itself. Now we can look at this, and what we can actually do is within this window we can make this one small, okay? And we can open up another tab, go to our Google Apps, go to our docs, and we're going to reopen up the doc that we did for this task. And it's right here for me, and I know that it is because I've labeled it by the assignment name. Yay for me! So we're going to take this and we're going to pull it outside so that it's right here, and we're going to collapse it a bit. And actually we can, perfect. There we can see it, and if we zoom out a bit we can see everything, and then if we want we can do full screen, we can see everything just like that. So now you have a nice little neat work area. You can click out of the draft because the draft is right here, and we're going to pretend that we haven't submitted it yet. So we're going to pretend that before we submitted we made sure to look at everything that the rubric said so that we could get it right. So let's take a look at this rubric. Now there are various points here, but the top points are going to add up to the top score. So the top points that you can get for each section is going to be 12.5. That is because this is on a scale of 25 to 100. So at the very lowest end, I believe you're getting maybe a maximum 3.2 points. Okay, so maximum of 3.2 points for each section at the lowest. What is each section look like? Well, we're going to look at the first three columns because literally the last column, the place where you're going to be getting 3.2 points, that is literally if you've done nothing that you were supposed to. So you can rest assured that you will fail this assignment if you don't look at the directions and you don't look at the rubric. That's all this column is saying. That's why you would get a 3.2. So you can still score points even if you turn in something that does not have anything to do with what we did. It won't be very good points because you still fail the assignment, but at least you'll get some points. So let's start from the beginning here and work our way down. So the first one is our writing. This is all of our writing standard for informational writing. And then we have two language standards for our language. We have correct spelling, and then we have use of punctuation. This is actually a higher level than I'm even judging at. This has to do with commas, parentheses, and dashes to set off non-restrictive / parenthetical elements. We're not using that. Nobody is that advanced right now with their grammatical marks, and that's okay because that's like really advanced. It's like college level stuff, but you know, hey, the state of California wants you to do it when you're in 6th grade. So we're going to practice to the best of our ability, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But there are two language standards right here at the bottom, and then the rest are writing. And let's take a look at what they're asking us to do. So the first one is they want us to develop the topic with relevant facts, definitions, concrete details, quotations, or other information and examples. And if you don't know what that means, that's fine. Come on over to this where you see the points. If you want 12.5 points, which is the most amount of points you can get, we need to see how our essay here stacks up with all the criteria located on our rubric. So we have, again, all these different sections, and we need to see, does my essay contain what they're asking for in each of these sections? Obviously, we're going to be shooting for these two scores. If you happen to get this score, fine. You don't want the 3.2 score. That's a failing score. You should not be shooting for that. So again, we'll take a look at our essay, and then we'll take a look at this. And you can see these are labeled by letter. No matter what I do from my end, it will not, even though it shows me that this is on top on my end, and that's why I was confused when I was going through this with you in the first part of this video, because it shows me it one way on my end, and then this is the student view. Obviously, I'm looking through, and it shows me a completely different way. So this is actually the first part of the rubric. It's really irritating me that it's not in the beginning like it should be. Maybe by the time you guys see this, it will be on top, but it's not on top right now, and it's absolutely driving me crazy. If you're listening, Schoology, fix this. I know you're owned by Power School now. So it's A, 6.2A. And the reason why I'm going, you could go in this order, but I'm going to go in an order that makes sense to how we write the essay. And so this is introduce a topic, organize ideas. You can read this entire thing. I'm not going to, because this is what you need to know. The essay has an introduction with a pose statement and a clarify statement that addresses the question or prompt. Okay, do we have a clarification statement here? Well, the answer is no, we don't have a clarification statement here. Okay, and so does the essay have, the essay has an introduction with a pose statement that addresses the question or prompt. Do we have that? Yes, we do. And it addresses the question or prompt? Yes, it does. A 6.3 would be, the essay has an introduction with a pose statement that does not address the question or prompt. But this does address the question or prompt. They asked what were the achievements of the ancient Maya. And there were many achievements, so that's what we put in our answer. So if we were to look at this, then we got a 9.4 for this section of the rubric. Now we got to scroll back up because Schoology is all whacked out right now, and we got to look at B. Develop a topic with relevant facts, definition, concrete details, quotations, or other information and examples. And you can think of this as the yellow and red Hawk Talk card. So the essay uses 1 to 2 relevant clarification statements and 1 to 2 fortification statements in each body paragraph. That would be the top score. So let's take a look. Do we have that? So we have, I think, is our pose. That's not what they're asking for, though. They're looking for clarification and fortification. So we have, in other words, there's one clarification. And this is our first body paragraph. In the text, there's one fortification. So boom, paragraph 1, done. Next one, I think that the ancient Maya used discoveries in the sun. That is not. That's a pose. Here's a clarify. Oh no, that's a fortification. So we got one fortification. Oh, boom. Here's the clarify. In other words, the Maya achieved the ability to study planets and stars. Perfect. So we got a fortification and there's actually 2 fortifications and a clarification. So we're good on this paragraph. In other words, we got one clarification statement here. In the text it says, so we got a fortification and we got another clarification. And whoa, we got another fortification, so we're good with that paragraph too. So far for B, we have a 12.5 on this essay, okay? So we have a 12.5 for B, and let's continue down for C. Use appropriate transitions to clarify the relationships among ideas and concepts. Transition phrases are used in every paragraph, and we went through and we actually could see that the main point seemed to be there's a transition phrase. In the text it says there's a transition phrase. I think that, so the only thing that we could change, we could actually change this to use a transition phrase. I think that the achievements of the ancient Maya were many. Now we actually have a transition phrase, I think that. That signals that I am answering a question or a prompt. I am telling you what is inside of my head. That is what the statement I think is signaling, okay? So that's good. That means that we got a 12.5, and we saw all the other transition phrases that we use because we already looked for things like in other words, in the text it says, I think that, and we can clearly see that each of those are in each of these paragraphs, right? We have it at least one in each paragraph. If you want a 9.4, you need to use it in at least 4 paragraphs. And if we didn't change this, we could have still got a 9.4 because we used transition phrases in all of these paragraphs except for this one, so we could have still gotten a 9.4 here, but I fixed it. You can fix it too after you look at the rubric, and then after we fixed it, we got a 12.5 because we used it in every paragraph, including the introduction. Let's go on to D. Use precise language and domain-specific vocabulary to inform about or explain the topic. So this is 12.5. Each paragraph has 3 to 5 domain-specific words or academic words that are relevant to the prompt or question. So they're not just random ones that you're throwing in to look smart. Let's see, the achievements. Achievements is definitely a an academic word. Means what you accomplish, what you can do, right? Ancient is also a academic word, and Maya is a content-specific word. So we have 3. We meet the minimum requirement for this paragraph. We have Maya, we have ancient, communicate, that is an academic word as we underlined while we were writing. So we have 3 there. Let's go on to the next paragraph. I think that the ancient Maya used discoveries in science to achieve advances. So we got astronomy, that is one. Mathematics is a content-specific word. Achieve, advances, those are definitely grade level academic words. Moving on to the third paragraph, architecture, that is a content-specific word and an academic word. Achievement again is in there. Maya is in there. Construction is a not domain specific, academic word as well. Highly skilled, that's another good one to have. So we got a lot of ones in there too. And then let's get down here. We got ancient, we got Maya, achieve, and mathematics. So we're good. We have precise language throughout this entire essay. So that would get us the 12.5 points, the highest score. And we already did A. It's out of order. Oh, it's making me not so happy. Let's go to E, establish and maintain a formal style. So this is a little bit more complicated. The essay uses a clear and repeatable structure throughout. The essay uses a clear and repeatable structure. The essay attempts to use a clear and repeatable structure. Well, what is a clear and repeatable structure? It means that first you have it set up like an essay. So there's paragraphs, there's indents, there's tabs. I know that this is the first intro paragraph. This is the first body paragraph or second paragraph overall. I know that this is the third body, this is the fourth body, and then, this is the third body, and then this is the fifth paragraph, which is the conclusion. So I know that because it's been the same throughout this whole essay. It's maintained one style. It hasn't gone from, oh, I'm indenting every paragraph to now I'm not, or, oh, I'm writing body paragraphs, now my last paragraph is just going to be 6 paragraphs tied together with no breaks. I maintain the same style, and it looks nice and neat. You can see by looking at it that it looks formatted well. Also, part of this establishing and maintaining a formal style, if you take this from your mind map and use your mind map as an outline, that is to ensure that you're maintaining a formal style of writing because you have outlined it already, and then you're just taking that outline and putting the meat and skin on everything. If that makes sense. So this is good. This is a predictable style. I started each sentence with I think that, I posed, I clarified, and I fortified. That's predictable. If you use the Hawk Talk cards, it's very predictable. It's easy for me to grade too. Providing a concluding statement or section that follows from the information or explanation presented. This is easy. The essay has a conclusion that summarizes all the relevant points made. The essay has a conclusion that summarizes most of the relevant points, okay? Do we summarize all of the relevant points? No, we don't summarize. Well, let's see. The main points seem to be the ancient Maya used their knowledge of mathematics and art to achieve many things. If we wanted to summarize everything, to achieve advances in writing. So we did writing. What else did we do? We did science, and we did architecture. Advances in writing, science, and writing, science, writing. It's more than that. It's writing, mathematics, science, art, and architecture. Awesome. So now we've summarized all the main points. The main points seem to be, and we've written them all down here. Now we could get more fancy with this. We could make this multiple sentences, but it's not asking for multiple sentences. There is no sentence goal. There's just an informational goal. And the informational goal is provide a conclusion that summarizes all the points. And that's what we did here. We changed it. We had to fix this so that it matched with the rubric. That's what you do when you have a rubric. It's awesome when you have a rubric, because you know how to be successful. Let's look at the last two parts here, which are language. And we have the first one uses punctuation, including commas and parentheses, dashes, to set off non-restrictive parenthetical elements. That is very complicated to understand, kind of simplistic in its application. However, this is not really applicable to us, so this is what I am using for you guys. The essay has 1 to 2 punctuation errors. If you're really, really good to get that 12.5 points in the language, you need to really edit your stuff and make sure there is no punctuation errors. Don't have a question mark at the end of a statement. Don't have a period at the end of a question. Capitalize. Oh, it's just punctuations. Make sure that you're not just throwing commas. Make sure that there's commas after the transition phrases that need them. Notice how we fixed commas that were suggested to us by Google. We also looked at the Hawk Talk cards. If it says something on the Hawk Talk card, copy it down with the correct punctuation. That is how you're going to score correctly. So I don't see any red. That's what I usually use when I'm correcting. I use the Grammarly, and I don't see any red in ours. We corrected everything. We have commas where we need in the text, comma, it says, comma. We have our quotation marks. So we're good. We get the 12.5 points for that. And then spelling, everything is spelled correctly. And as you can see, nothing is underlined in red. I'm not checking anything. We'll read this one time through and see if there's any typos, and if there's not, then we got a 12.5 on this. I think that the achievements of the ancient Maya were many. I think that the ancient Maya had a system of writing that they used to communicate with each other. In other words, the Maya were able to use writing to share information among themselves. In the text it says the Maya used a writing system based on hieroglyphs. These were pictures that represented words. In the text it says the Maya carved their writing on giant stone blocks. This was one of their many achievements. I think that the ancient Maya used discoveries in science to achieve advances in astronomy and mathematics. In the text it says Maya priests made brilliant discoveries in astronomy, the study of stars and planets. In other words, the Maya achieved the ability to study planets and stars. In the text it says they also made great advances in mathematics. I think that art and architecture was another important achievement of the ancient Maya. In other words, the Maya made advances in art and construction of buildings known as architecture. In the text, it says the Maya were highly skilled in many arts. What I mean is the Maya were able to develop many art forms and styles of building. In the text, it says the most important Maya buildings were palaces and temples. The main point seemed to be the ancient Maya used their knowledge of mathematics and art to achieve advances in writing, mathematics, science, art, and architecture. And we can actually change that. I didn't really realize that I was being a little bit redundant, okay? Use their knowledge of mathematics and art to achieve advances in writing, science, and architecture. We don't need to put, we don't need to re-put mathematics and art in there. And we get the 12.5 points. We had no spelling errors. We're good to go. So far, I think this is like a really close to 100%. I think the only thing we got a 9.4 on was, no, I don't think we got it on anything. We switched everything so that we got the full amount of points. Yep. Because we switched, oh no, wait. I think we just, yeah, we got a 9.4 on the introduction because we didn't use a clarification statement, but I don't care. That's not a bad grade. A 9.4 is still really good. It's still going to be very, very close to 100%. If you want to use the yellow on your own and kind of make this better to get 100%, you can try it out. I'll give you suggestions if it's wrong, but now you know how to take the rubric and look at something before you turn it in. And get familiar with this rubric because our next assignment is going to be opening up what we already did, and then you'll be looking at the score that you got from me and then giving me a video on why you think you got the score you did and what changes you're going to make. This is all about self-reflection and self-evaluation, what changes you are going to make so that you can be successful when you re-engage with the assignment.